Alright, I have returned, and I don't know what's going on out here in these streets and why these cars feel the need to try me. Anyway, so a portion of my video that I recorded on my way to work this morning was too muffled for y'all to understand. So, I'm Kay. Oh, you just gonna pull out in front of me? Really? Now see, if I didn't have good sense today, I would have hit you. But I'm not going to. Not today. Not at this moment. Because we never know. Anyway, I'm Kay. This is, shoot, what is this? Daytime Divas. Blah, 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 whatever. So the parts that I had to cut out of the video were Maxine pumps it on down to the station, talks to the detective. She says, I heard you were looking for me. He says, yes, I was. She says, you know, what? He says, you know, tell me what happened on the night Ted died. She tells him what happened on the night Ted died. What happened? Because we know she's lying. We don't know what really happened, but we know what she's saying isn't the truth. And basically, she tells him this, that, and the other, and tells him to come on down to the studio anytime he wants to, blah. Let me see. Ella wants to use the ladies' restroom because she is a lady. Makes sense to me. Sean says he wants to spend some time apart from Nina. And I just, to that I say, Sean, I'm sick of it. I'm so tired of Sean. As I've stated before, and will probably state again, Sean is a bitch, and I just can't do it with him. Let's see. Eve tiptoes through. She left her makeup bag. She swings in to get it, and the girls try to goad her into conversation, and she says, I won't be doing that. Then Maxine comes down and says, hey, Eve, how you doing, sis? You can come back anytime. Eve says, hell no, I'm not coming back. I can't stand y'all. And then she tries to smooth it over by saying, you know, because of the show, I'm going on a book tour, da-da-da. But all in all, she just didn't want to be bothered with these hussies. She just didn't want to be bothered. So we swoop with me over to hair and makeup. We're in hair and makeup, and my favorite, my absolute favorite, Janet Mock walks in. And I wish I could give y'all the energy I gave you on the video I recorded prior to this, that you couldn't hear me. I gave you just the rundown about how Janet Mock is my favorite, you know, like I live for her, all this, that, and the other. But I can't recreate that moment. And I'm not going to try. Heather is struck by Janet Mock and her beauty and, you know, her transness. And she got all these questions. She asking all these questions, making statements, assuming. And, you know, Janet is like, girl. And Kimmy is like, girl. And, you know, Kimmy and Heather are still beefing, whatever. And they go out on the show, and Heather's asking Janet all these questions. Are you happy? This, that, and the other. And after the show, Kimmy tells Heather, you may want to lay off of Janet. And I said, I agree. You know, like when a member of the LGBT community tells you to lay off of another member of the LGBT community, you may just want to lay off of that member of the LGBT community if you weren't clear on what community I was speaking on. Like Kimmy tried to save her, but she ain't want to be saved. So she gonna make a fool out of herself a little later. I think that's everything that I discussed that I had to cut out because you couldn't hear me. I hope you can hear me now. If you can't, oh well, because I'm not going to do this again. Now let's get into the parts I hadn't discovered yet. So Patti LaBelle is Edison's mama. As soon as I saw her, I was like, yes, I'm living for Patti. I don't remember having seen her on, you know, the little trailer, the promos, or anything like that. So I was shocked. I was surprised. And Patty's like, you know, Maxine, I'm your biggest fan. Can I get 2 tickets to the show? Yada, yada, yada. And Maxine is like, yeah, girl, got you. Come on to the show. Patti turns around and says, and no cheap seats. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to like Patti this week. I don't see it for her already. She wore me down with that no cheap seats. You already done begged this woman. You know what? I'm not going to get into it right now. I'm not in the mood. Let's see. So they're doing the, you know, the discussions, and this was during the show. Maxine brings up that Heather's man is moving on, and Heather's like, thank you, this really affects the children, da 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 da. And then they get into a discussion about custody. Oh, I done dropped my phone. They get into a discussion about custody, and Heather and Nina are both expressing views that say they want sole custody of their children. Maxine was shook, but, you know, she didn't let it show on camera. And Sean, you know, was a little bit shook, but Maxine riled him up. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But, yeah, they're discussing custody. So Maxine calls Sean to the office and says, you need to lawyer up because she's going to try to take this baby. And I'm just like, I don't have the energy, Maxine, for you to be hyping up your little bitch son to do all of this. And I'm sorry that I have to put it that way. If there were another word that I could think of to call Sean, I probably would still call him a bitch because he's a bitch. And I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. And so we find out later on, because this is the part that really interests me. This is all I'm here for. Since Eve won't be on any longer. Kibby's TV father, because, you know, I'm interested to get to the root of Kibby and her problems. Kibby's TB, Lord, tuberculosis father. Her TV father is coming to the show, and you immediately see that she's not interested. She does not want this. But she lies. She tells Maxine, oh my gosh, it'll be great. We can have a reunion, blah, blah, blah. And Maxine's thinking it's all good. And I'm like, Kibby, why don't you just go ahead and tell Maxine you don't want him there? You don't even necessarily have to tell her what he may or may not have done to you, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's apparent the way she's acting. He did something to her. But just go ahead and tell Maxine that you don't want him. It made sense to me, but whatever. Sean gives Nina a phone call, and he's like, yeah, let's talk about the custody thing. She says she wants primary custody. And I'm like, it's not illogical for a mother to want primary custody of her child. But he's pissed, and he's going to get his lawyers and blah, blah, blah. Patti LaBelle is backstage. She got, you know, she and Edison had backstage passes, and Maxine comes down. She's like, yeah, we had a great show. Patti LaBelle talking about it was all right, but I'll come back tomorrow. Y'all having some giveaways or what? And I'm just like, I can't stand her. Get Patti off the screen. I didn't like it. We swoop back over to hair and makeup, and Janet Mock is, you know, beating her face, and Heather is like touching her own hair and admiring, you know, looking longingly at Janet's hair. And Janet says, you want to touch my hair, don't you? And Heather's like, can I? She said, no. I said, yes. I lived for it. You know, I'm all about telling white people not to touch my hair. You know what? While I got you on the line, will black people stop touching my hair? Like, I understand that we are a part of an ethnic group and we a community and all of this, that, and the other, but don't put your hands, don't dig your hands down into my hair. I don't care. Only person can walk up to me and put their hands on my scalp is my mama, my grandmama, and my great-grandmama. And a couple of my great aunties did it this week, and I wasn't too mad about it because they 90. But don't put your hands in my hair. Don't put your Caucasian hands, don't put your nigger hands, don't put, you know, your Punjabi hands. Don't put your Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican hands, you know, don't put your Kenyan hands, your Zimbabwe hands. Don't put your hands in my hair. I don't care. Because, you know, people, like, it's a big deal that white people like to just walk up and touch your hair. That's cool. But I don't like anybody walking up and touching my hair. And I get it more from black people than I get it from white people. And I'm here to tell you girls, get your hands out of my hair. I know it's big, I know it's fluffy, I know it's a lot of hair, I know it's multicolored and it's giving you life. Do not put your hands in my hair unless you are a stylist of some sort and I have given you the, you know, the go ahead to touch my hair. Do not put your hands in my hair. And that's what I believe Janet Mock wanted to say to Heather, because I really went way out of the way about that one. But yeah, Janet said, no, you cannot touch my hair. Janet talks about her husband, and listen, her husband is fine. They are a fine couple, like, for real. And she mentions her husband, and Heather's like, oh my gosh, you're married? And she's like, yeah, girl, love him. Like, and Heather's just doing too much. Kibby is shook about, you know, Vance, her television father, and she gives him a phone call and says, I don't care what you have to do to get out of this situation. Do not come to my job with that foolery. Get out right now. It's the end of you and me. It's too late, and I can't wait for you to be gone, because I know about her. I missed that note. And I wonder how I bought all the lies. You said that you would treat me right, but it was just a waste of time. JoJo, if y'all haven't bought her last album, Mad Love, get into it. JoJo has been hitting on, she's been slaying for about 15, 20 years now. So let her have it. Anyway, the detective is tiptoeing around and asking questions and talking to William and Patti LaBelle, and oh no, this is before that. He goes to the restaurant, and the waiter is a Maxine Stan. He's telling, you know, spilling all the tea, and I'm like, why hasn't Maxine paid this boy off or something? Like, it's been 11 years. Go ahead and retrace all your steps and go back and try to track these people and tell them that they don't know nothing about nothing. That's what I would have done, but that's just, you know, that's me. And then we start to get some sort of an inkling that Sean may have killed him, because the waiter is giving, well, you know, Maxine and her son were very upset, and, you know, he blew up and they was fighting and this, that, and the other, and I'm just like, so Sean killed him. So if Sean killed his white daddy, I'm going to be very, very upset. Not that he killed his white daddy, because, you know, sometimes you have to kill your white fathers, but, and your black ones, you know, just kill all your dads. Just everybody go kill your dad. No, I'm just kidding. Do not do that. Don't do that. But if he killed his father, I'm going to be very perturbed, because you committed a murder. Now I'm speaking as if he did kill his father. You committed a murder. And, basically, you mad at Nina about being on lying about, I'm sorry, I done got thrown, lying about the Pulitzer. So if I find out that Sean murdered white father Ted, I'm going to be real upset with him being upset with Nina for lying about the Pulitzer. That's my point here. I got thrown off. It was a woman standing on the side of the road giving me the stare down. Anyway, so Patti LaBelle brought some patty pies to the show. And she, you know, is trying to get Maxine to let her be on the show and this, that, and the other. And Heather says this is just the best pumpkin pie I've ever had. And it was just another great moment of Afro-American life, where Patti says, sis, this is not a pumpkin pie. This is a sweet potato pie. We don't do pumpkin. She didn't say that, but I'm saying that. We don't really eat pumpkin pie like that. We don't eat pumpkin nothing. The only time we deal with pumpkins is when we, I'm about to drop my phone again. The only time we deal with pumpkins is when our mothers pick them up for us so we can carve them on Halloween. And that's if we don't have real deep save mamas. Because, you know, the real deep save mamas won't let the kids, you know, do jack-o'-lanterns or anything like that. So, Anyway. And then Patti starts spilling tea about William and Max and how they sleeping together and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And the detective is there, and, you know, Nina Stalker is there, and he's upset that she blocked him. And, you know, he has to get escorted out of because he gets up in the middle of the show and it's like, why'd you block me? I thought we were good girlfriends. What happened? Why'd you block me? I'm like, you couldn't wait until after the show. You had to wait till the middle, just right in the middle of the show. Okay. And they escort him out. And, let me scooch over here. And then Heather does way too much. Heather's talking about, you know, Janet, blah, blah, blah. And she says something, she's asking too many questions, basically. And Janet says, the way you ask me all these questions, sis, I think you may be dealing with some, you know, some sexuality and gender issues. And I'm still sitting here like, Heather put herself in gay timeout. So I'm trying to understand why all of a sudden Heather done went back to straight life. It just didn't make sense for her to fantasize about making out with this lesbian woman and then still be straight. I just didn't understand. Somebody help me understand. Write down in the comments if you know what that was about. Like, I didn't get it. But anyway, so Janet says, girl, looks like you're dealing with some gender and sexuality issues. And Heather does no, I'm a real girl. I said, Catherine, I don't know what her last name is. Jones. I'm going to give her Jones. How very dare you? How very dare you? Just how dare you go through all of this? It's draining. And I feel like that's how Candace Cameron Bure is in real life. Like she out here trying to, you know, suck D on the quiet tip. But, you know, get on TV and she's just real Christian. And it just bothered me. And she did Real Girl. And, you know, Janet was like, you're an idiot. You're stupid. And I don't have time. And, you know, Kibby pops up after the show and is like, sis, I tried to told you not to do that. She tried. You know, we got to give Kibby her props. She tried to told that girl, don't do all that. And she did it anyway. Fortunately for Kibby, Vance cancels and, you know, Maxine pops in to break the news and says, you know, something came up with Vance. If Maxine would pay just a little bit of attention, she could see that Kibby was very glad that Vance had canceled, and she would have been able to see prior to that Kibby was very sad that he was coming on the show. You just got to, like, look at your daughter. Look in her face and see. But whatever. Let's see. Sean calls to see if Nina is okay as far as the stalker, you know, popping up in the middle of the show, blah, blah, blah. And she says, yeah, I'm good. Thank you for calling. You know, thank you for asking all of this. And then he says, what you doing Thursday at 2? She's like, oh, I think I may be free. What's going on? He said, I want to get my lawyer and your lawyer and us together work on this custody agreement. And she's like, oh, well, I thought we was just good girlfriends and you out here trying to play me. And I'm like, okay, well, you got a stop sign, but you go ahead. Just go right on ahead. That's fine. So, yeah, I thought it was a little shady. I felt like he could have taken this day to ask her how she is, and then we'll find another time to bring up, let's get our lawyers together if we must. But he didn't. He was extra and too much, and I didn't care for it. Is that a space? I don't know if I can fit. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try. I like to thank God for these store windows that show me that I can get into these spots, because if I ain't had a store window right here, I wouldn't be able to get in. But I'm getting in. And I'm in. And let me back out so I can straighten up. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm doing a lot here. I'm just trying to park. Getting into the parking spot when people don't know how to park in their lane. So I have to maneuver. And now I'm in and I'm straight. Look at God. Okay, so. And let me turn off this car. Take off this seatbelt because it's hindering me. Oh, wait. Let me turn the car back on so I can move the steering wheel out of my vision. And I'm sorry about the lighting. It's been getting darker earlier lately, and it's just not summer. It's just, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Gary corners Nina in the elevator. He wants to take selfies. He's telling her about how they went to Hawaii and this, that, and the other. And, you know, Sean is upset because Nina ain't around, and he thinks she's blowing him off and blah, blah, blah. So he leaves a dirty message on her, her voicemail, thinking that she's just blowing off the show. And I'm like, that's your first thought? You know why? Because you were... Anyway, I can't be bothered with Sean today. The detective comes and he talks to Sean, and he's trying to get, you know, tea and info. And this is when Ramona comes and tells him that they can't find Nina. And they tell Sean finally that Gary has her hostage in the elevator. And he's like, get her out. And, okay, she's doing too much. Gary's in there. He's saying don't nobody listen to him. He's doing too much. And Sean wants to cancel the show. Maxine says, no, we're not going to cancel the show because that's going to make him feel important. And we're just not trying to make him feel important. Then Ramona says she got everything covered. And I'm like, Lord, I hope she don't bring Vance on the show because that would be too much for my life. Let's see. Heather, she walks up to Janet and she's trying to deliver an apology. And she's like, you know, I ain't mean you no harm. It's just that, you know, my child, my son, I guess my daughter, is transgender. And, you know, Maxine was standing there. She was shocked. Kibby was shocked. I don't think Nina was standing there. Anyway, the girls were shocked. And they were like, Brad Jr.? And it's like, who else? Like, well, I guess she does have a whole nother daughter. Anyway, they were, okay, I want them to stop. And she was like, yeah, you know, she's Ella. And Janet gave her, you know, a good girlfriend hug. And I'm crying because I'm like, oh, this is just so nice. And then they get on the show. And they're discussing, you know, the issue, you know, what Heather said yesterday. And they give the floor to Heather, and she's like, you know, she begins to say that she's sorry and she didn't mean no harm. And she gets kind of, she stalls for a second. And Janet grabs her hand and it's like, it's okay to be trans ignorant. It's not okay to be transphobic. We just got to learn. And I'm like, true that. True that. So Patty's back to spilling to the detective that her son and Maxine go together. And he's like, you know, just the other day, you ain't know his name, but now y'all go together? Interesting. Nina's still stuck in the elevator, and Maxine gets on the show, and she's like, I've got to tell y'all some tea. I got a man. His name is, what's his name? Edison? William. Okay, their car won't start, so they just doing too much. Anyway, William and I go together. He's my doorman. We just recently started going together, blah, blah, blah. But the funny thing is, when they were asking who Maxine goes with, Kibby said, is it Stedman? And Maxine said, girl, I don't go with Stedman, and neither does Oprah. I said, shade. And I think Jenny Mock also said shade. It was delicious. Because you know what I feel about Oprah. I feel like Oprah invented gay timeout, her and Gail. But I love her down. Love her, you know, from the bottom and the top of my heart. If she ever wants to work with me, I will retract these statements. I'm just playing, y'all. I don't know if Oprah's gay or not. That's not my business. And then, you know, Maxine says I'm dating my doorman, and William storms off. And I'm like, I don't have it. I just don't have it. They get Nina out of the elevator, and she and Sean hug, and they say they calling off the lawyers. And this is when they start to fill Nina in. Nina, you know, is in her dressing room, and they're like, you all right? Good. So this is what you missed on Glee. Maxine's dating her doorman. It was something else. And then she says, and Brad Jr. is transgender. She's Ella now. And Nina's like, girl, what? Basically, like, dang, I was in the elevator for 20 minutes, and this is what happened. And Maxine comes to the door and says, look, sis, I've got a doctor here to look at you. Come on, let's see what we can do about this. And Heather's like, I'm fine. Maxine says, you're going to come to this doctor right away. That's my grandchild, and I won't have it any other way. And I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Anyway, Heather is about to walk out of the room, and Kibby stops her and gives her a bow for Ella. And she's like, you know, when I was a little girl, I loved having sparkly things in my hair, and I'm sure Ella will love it too. And I was like, oh, Auntie Kibby coming through. I love it. And then they hug. So I guess they're good girlfriends again. Kibby goes to her dressing room, and there are flowers in the dressing room. And, you know, I'm like, oh, this is nice. But then my mind, as soon as my mind said, this is nice, my mind said, this is Vance. And she looked at the card, and it says, sorry, this didn't work out. Hope to see you soon, XO Vance. And I'm like, what indicated that she wanted, like, flowers from you or anything from you? But whatever, though. So Kibby rips up the card and takes the flowers out, and she's looking for somewhere to put them. And she sees Ramona, and she's like, hey, Ramona, great job today, and gives her the flowers. And I'm like, you may have just saved everybody's life. Ramona may take those flowers and not kill anybody, because, you know, I have this theory that Ramona's going to go berserk and murder everyone. But, you know, she got these flowers now, so we don't know. We get over to Sean and Maxine, and they're talking about Ted, and he still thinks about that night. And Maxine says, well, it's not your fault. And he said, you're damn right it's not my fault, and I don't feel guilty about any of it. And I'm like, he must have killed this man. I just didn't care for it. You know, we're in the car, Heather's driving, and Ella and I think it's Savannah are in the back seat, and Heather gives her the you know, the bow, the sparkly, hair brooch, whatever you call it. And Ella's like, but we're not at home. We're outside. And Heather's like, listen, be who you are, sis. We're changing the rules. We're going to get you into another school. Until that time, I'm going to homeschool you. You can wear whatever you want to. I don't care. Do you, girl. And Ella is very excited. Edison would have liked to have been told about the situation, as far as Maxine spilling their tea. And I'm like, listen, these things just pop up sometimes. And then the last scene is we see the detective putting a picture of Sean and a picture of Edison up on the wall, and they are now suspects in the murder of Ted. That was it. Like, comment, and subscribe. All the things the YouTubers say. All my information is down below. All Matea's information is down below. And I'll see y'all. I got to cuss out Tyler Perry for the haves and the have-nots. So I'll see y'all for that. Peace.